大家好，欢迎，我是你的英语老师。我的中文名字是黄国熙。My American name is Warren Wong. 我出生在美国，我父母是广东人，我会说一点汉语和台山话，但是我说的很差。There are many topics in this lesson, but most of them should be a review for you. You can see the topics that we will cover: the alphabet, pronouns, the be verb, question words, date and time. The second part of this video will be presented by Priscilla. She will introduce herself to you then, and then cover articles, singular, plurals, countable, uncountable nouns, demonstratives, simple present tense, auxiliary words, and prepositions. Lastly, she will go over a vocabulary list that is also in your textbook. Before we begin, please join our WeChat group. You should see me as Warren_H_Wong. Let me type that in for you while you're scanning the WeChat code. So that is my ID in WeChat, in the WeChat group. This is the English alphabet. As a review, you should stop this video now and write down each letter in uppercase and lowercase. Do this 3 times so you know the letters very well. Did you complete the exercise? Are you familiar with the letters now? English has common pronouns, as does Chinese. Pronouns like 我 and 我们 are I, me, y, we, or in Mandarin, 我们, us, and our. You should know that pronouns are either singular, like I, 我 in Chinese, or plural, like we, 我们. The singular pronouns are shown here. The plural pronouns are shown here. Let me give you an example of using the pronouns in a sentence. I am reading English. Give the book to me. My book is on the table. We are happy to see you. Give the books back to us. Our company is very small. Now stop the video and say each of the other pronouns out loud. Do you know which ones are the singular pronouns and which ones are plural? The plural ones are shown in the on the right-hand side of the slide. Now make your own sentences with the other pronouns. Write the sentences down and then read them back to yourself out loud. I need to point out its. English has 2 words that sound the same, its and its. Let me show you. So the 2 words are its and then it apostrophe s. The first its, its, refers to something that belongs to something else. This its really means it is. An example sentence would be, the dog is not happy because its food is all gone. It's going to bark at me. The dog is not happy because its food is all gone. This its refers to the food that belongs to the dog. This it's going to bark at me really means it is going to bark at me. Is that clear? So complete your sentences using these pronouns. An easy way to use the pronouns in a sentence is using the be verbs in English, where the be verbs are used to make simple sentences. It is like sure in Chinese. 我是老师. I am a teacher. You are a student. He is not a teacher. We are excuse me. We are happy. You are very happy. They are not happy. You should be able to use the pronouns from the last slide and use one of the be verbs shown here to make sentences. So now stop the video and make these sentences using the pronouns and the be verbs such as am, are, and is. Question words. The words used to ask a question in English are the question words that are who, when, where, what, why, and how. Excuse me. Who is he? He is our teacher. When is our class? It is at 5 p.m. Where is our class? It is at CAISC. What is the book? It is our textbook. Why is he in the class? Because he is our teacher. How are you? I am good. The days of the week are not as simple as in Chinese. You would need to memorize them. I will say a day of the week in English, and you should say it to yourself in Chinese. For example, Wednesday is 星期三. Friday is, Sunday is, Saturday is, Tuesday is, Monday is, Thursday is. Make another sentence by answering this question in Chinese. In English. What day is today? What day is tomorrow? Can you answer that in English? You should also memorize the months. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Even for me, February is hard to pronounce. Say February. Here's a quick quiz. What month is April in Chinese? What month is August in Chinese? November? What about December? You should know the English words for time as shown here. Clock, watch, o'clock. O'clock is used to tell the specific time. For example, it is now 12 o'clock. I go to bed at 10 o'clock. Midnight is 12 a.m. or 12 o'clock a.m. Noon is 12 p.m. or 12 o'clock p.m. Please say after me these other words. 跟我说 hour, minute, second, early, earlier, late, later, when. Common phrases in English about time are, what time is it? What time does the class begin? How old are you? These are the numbers in English. You should know them quite well by now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Above 10, they are 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Then you have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 1000. To refer to an order of a number, for example, DE would be the first, followed by the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. The numbers above 3 are often made by adding a TH after them, like 4 becomes fourth. Then you have fifth, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. There's a mistake in the slide. Do you see it? Here we're showing, for example, 15, which becomes 15th, 16th, and this should be 17th, not 7th. The next slides will be presented by Priscilla. Before I hand it over to her, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and see you next time.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Schultz. I'm one of your CISC teachers and a volunteer. Hi, 我叫 Priscilla， 我是一位 CISC 的英语老师和志愿者。我也有英文名字 and here you see it, 苏雪兰。I want to bring your attention to this page. I know Warren covered, the other teacher, Warren covered this previously, but we hope that you all have WeChat. 我们希望你们都有微信 and if you use the WeChat, you use this one to ask specific questions about this class, and if you join this group, this is the CISC office, and they can answer other questions for you. A little bit more about myself. I've studied Chinese for a while. 我学习汉语一段时间, but I don't speak very fluently. 但是我不能流利交谈。我慢慢找到正确的词 and I think you can hear that I don't speak very fluently, but I know a lot and I'll try to say some things Chinese if I think it'd be helpful to you as students. Okay, so as I said, Warren has covered the first part of lesson 1 and 他已经讨论第一课第一部分 and I'm going to cover the next part of the second part in lesson 1. 我将谈论第二部分 of lesson 1. So 开始吧. So we're going to go to Warren covers this and this and this with you. And I'm going to start here with articles. Okay, articles. So articles are words that you've put before nouns, okay? And the rule is that you use this one. You say if the word does not begin with the vowel. So 用于开头不是母音的名词 then you use But if the word begins with a vowel, okay, so 用于开头是母音的名词 then you use the word and. And then the third article is the word the. Now, the is, you use this article, the, when you're pretty sure the other person knows specifically what you're talking about, okay? So when you think the other person knows what you're talking about, you use the when you're referring to the noun. In English, nouns almost always have an article in front of it, or an, or the, or this, or that, or these, or those. They don't appear alone. All right, so back to the. So if you think the person know specifically what you're talking about. So 当发言者认为对方已经知道你指的是什么 Okay, then you use that. But do you know what a vowel is? So I put another little slide in here. This is not in your textbook, but these are the vowels, A, E, I, O, and U. And we'll talk a little bit about the vowels and these articles. And I just talked it through, but here's a slide that you can look at about it. So when words begin with the vowel, 用 U 开头是母音的 then you use an. And here's an example of nouns, 名词 that begin with a vowel. Okay, here's A, apple, egg, ice, I, O for orange, and U for umbrella. So because these words begin with a vowel, you say an apple, an egg, an ice cube, an orange, an umbrella. In Chinese, you don't need to say, put something in front of it. In English, you do. When it's a single noun. But also, when the words begin with a vowel, the word the is a little bit different. You pronounce it as the, a long E, the. Okay, 这样发音 the, 这样发音 the. Okay, so 用开头是母音, then the word the is pronounced this way. 这样发音. So you say the apple, even though you write it the E here is long. The apple, the egg, the ice cube, the orange, the umbrella. Okay, when words do not begin with the vowel, 用 U 开头不是母音, okay, you use a. And here is a book, a house, a dog, a zoo. And you pronounce the this way. 像发音 the, short, the book, the house, the zoo. Okay, so let's move on. You can look at this as long as you want and come back to it, but I'm going to move on here. So now we're going to talk about singular and plural. I wonder if I can move my picture around here. Move it down here. So it's out of the way. Singular and plural words, nouns, and how to change a noun from a singular to a plural. All right. The chart that you see here on the slide is showing nouns made into plural, which is more than one. And the important thing is it depends on how it can depend on how the word ends. So ordinarily, usually, it depends on how the word ends. So 取决于名词的结尾. So here in these cases, and usually, in most cases, normally, 一般单词, you just add the S. A house, you just add an S here to make it more than one house, houses. And dog, you say dogs. House, houses. But you notice if I'm saying houses, it's got more of a Z sound than an S. House, houses. Dogs. All right. In this case, these words are ending in these letters, S, X, and SH. Okay, but it could, if it ends in Z, S, X, Z, CH, or SH, then you have to add ES. So you see here buses, boxes, wishes. All right. And then if the noun, the 名词, 这回 is Y, then you change this and you substitute these letters IES. So you have one city, but you have cities, 2 cities, 3 cities, many cities. Baby becomes babies, penny becomes pennies. All right. If the word ends in FE or VES, knife, Dao, I believe that's the word, life, 生活, right? Or leaf, 树叶. Anyway, if it ends in these letters FE or F or V, FE or F, it changes to VES. So FE is VES and leaf is VES. Yeah. Okay. Then there's words that just are completely different when they change. So man becomes men, woman becomes women, child becomes children, person is people, goose, geese, mouse, mice. These are just things you'll have to practice and memorize. But here is an exercise that I want you to try to do. So what I'd like you to try to make these words as they are into plural form. So the example is chicken, and I changed it to chickens, and it's a simple common word where I just had to add S. And some of these are simple, and some of these are not. So if you go ahead and pause the video for a little bit, 暂停 视频一下, then you can try that and we'll come back and look at the answers. Okay, now assuming that you did pause the video and tried to put these nouns into a plural form, let's see what noodle would become. So it ends in E. Are we going to do something special, or is it a special word, or we're just going to add an S? And we're just adding an S. So tax, let's look over here. This is the word that ends in X. So what's going to be the answer? Tax, what's going to be the plural? And there it is, taxes. You added ES, like these words in these boxes. Box, boxes, tax, taxes. Sky, what is the plural of sky? Well, it ends in Y. So we're going to eliminate that, and we're going to use IES. Oops, and I showed it to you already. Person. That's one of these special words, isn't it? So that would be people. And brother. I wonder which rule. And it's, again, just an ordinary word. So let's move on to the next, and I'll move my picture out of the way. You can see what's going on. And now we're going to talk about countable and uncountable nouns. Okay, countable nouns and uncountable. So 可数的 and 不可数的名词 and the rules about them, 规则. All right, so countable nouns are things that you can, the word says it, you can count them. You count them by numbers. 1, 2, 10, 10,000, 1. Okay, So here you can have a house, you can have many houses, a city, many cities, a man, many men. And uncountable nouns are things that are more abstract. They're intangible. So 无形的 intangible. They're ideas, 思想 like love, or they're things that are very small, like salt crystals, which are 洋加金, okay, or rice, 米粒. Very, very, very small things that you don't really, when you want to eat rice, you don't ask for a grain of rice. When you measure rice, it's not by numbers of grains, it's a quantity, a liter, or a bowl, or a bag. You use something else to measure it. And then you can count those things, 2 bags of rice, 2 boxes of sand, a package of salt, a bowl of tea, or a cup of tea, drinking tea. So these are sugar, rice, love, money, water, tea, salt, sand, are things that are too small to count. It could also be things like powders, 粉状物, or it could be liquids, 液体, or air, 空气, 气本, or 空气, gases and air. So anyway, these are things that's what makes them uncountable, too small or too abstract, a thing like love and money. Of course, in money, you can count dollars, yen, or you can count coins, 一块钱, but you're counting kwai. You're not, it's how many kwai. The money is more of an abstract quantity. The important point when it comes to countable and uncountable, okay, 可以数的 and 不可以数的名词 is when you're asking about the quantity. So countable nouns, you ask how many, and then your answer is going to be, could be 1 or 2, 3, 4, could be 5, could be a large number, but it could also be these words, a lot, 很多, some, 一些, could be many, 多, or it can be a few, 一点, okay. When you're asking about the uncountable nouns, these abstract or so tiny, when you're asking just about these items, you say how much? How much love do you need? How much money do you need? How much sugar? How much rice? You can answer it. And when you answer it, if you're answering specific quantity, it's going to be, I need a pound of sugar, a liter of rice. I want a cup of tea. Or you could also use these words. You could use these same words, a lot, some, much, a little. These are a little bit more vague. Okay, so that's all there, but I do have one exercise that I want you to try. I'm just not moving forward. Okay, let's try to do that. There you go. So I want you to go ahead and again pause, 暂停视频 and 一下 and for a moment and try to answer this. Which word are you using for these in these 2 sentences? How sugar to make a cake and how people live in your house. And then we'll come back and answer it. So try to do that. Just take a minute to do that. Okay? So it's how much sugar to make a cake. Again, because sugar is such tiny pieces. This is how we would ask the question for quantity of sugar. And the answer to that might be, oh, for this cake, oh, this cake is a cup of sugar. And with regard to people, we can count people. The census is happening soon. So there are 5 people living in your house, 2 people, 1 in your household. So it's how many? Okay, let's move on. And this topic is called demonstratives. Demonstratives. 指示词. Okay. And again, like articles, 冠词, these are words that go before nouns. And nouns don't appear by themselves. In most of the time, they have an article in front of it, the, or this, that, these, or those. This and these. These are referring to specific articles, specific things, nouns, 名词, that are near you. If it's one, okay, then it's this apple. If you have it, it's right by you, right nearby. Okay. If it's more than one, okay, 复数, it's these apples. These apples right here on the table by me. If it's across the room, across the street, on the other side of the world, it doesn't matter how far, it's going to be that apple, that person, that country. If it's more than one, it's those. So regarding demonstratives, 指示词, I think this topic is pretty simple, pretty easy, 很简单, not much more to say. So I'm going to go ahead and move on and get to simple present tense. Okay. 现在简单时 of verbs, 动词. So, and what the table here is showing you is how the simple present tense changes depending on who the subject is. Well, it depends on who the subject is. So who's doing something? Okay, the 主词, the subject, the 主词. Because if the subject, okay, the subject 主词 is he, she, or it, third person, he's doing it, she's doing it, the dog is doing it, then the verb has to end in S. And just like we talked before, and we talked about nouns and their endings, okay, 结尾, okay, these words, how you get the S depends on how the verb ends, Usually you just add S for a lot of them, but there's some. So if it ends in Y, just like before, if it ends in Y, when the noun ended in Y, city, you made it plural by eliminating this and putting IES. In this case, it's just a different verb ending that goes with when the subject is he, she, or it. To make the verb end in S, we just add it for this word. Most words are like that, verbs, 动词. But if the verb ends in Y, then you add IES. You take this away and add IES. If the verb ends in SS, you saw this before. So this is like English, 英语规则, okay? If it ends in SS, X, SH, or CH, in order to have that word end in S, then you have to add es. So it's not just that. So it goes from push to pushes. And again, this is about verbs, simple present tense of verbs, 动词 OK， 现在简单式动词的现在简单式 right? And the only reason we're talking about this is because when the subject, the 主词 is he, she, or it, the verb has to end in s. And this is how we get there. So let's do an exercise. Let me move my picture again. There we go. Get it out of the way. Doing simple present tense exercise. And what I want you to do is, again, pause, 暂停视频 and try to do 试试做这个练习 write the correct endings to these verbs. Okay, so 写正确的结尾 to these verbs. He, this is the verb I want you to work with. He, what's correct here, given the rules that we just talked about? Remember, the rule is if it's he, she, or it, then the verb has to end in s. Somehow you have to get there. So, 暂停视频一下 and 试试做这个练习 and we'll come back and we'll I'll show you the answers. Okay, I hope you paused and I hope you tried. So he, if we're gonna, this is gonna end in s. How do we make it? How do we make it end in s? Oh, here we go. He pulls the door open. Okay, so it's just, this is a simple word, a simple verb, straightforward. You just add s. I teach the students. What should it be? Well, it's I. It's not he, she, or it. So it's I teach the students. Okay, so she. Word has to end in s because it's she. Remember, he, she, it. Word and the verb has to end in s. So how do we get this to be end in s? We have to add es. She fixes the broken chair. So it's I and wish. I wish I had more money. All right, so, but here is she. How do we get this to have an S at the end? She wishes. And here we have an it. The it is a dog. Okay. And how do we do that? There's the word touch. Touch, touch. I'm not sure I know what the word is in Chinese, Mandarin. Touches. And here's she. 接物, 接物. Okay. And there's the answer there. Ends in es. I hope you tried that and I hope it makes sense to you. All right, let's go on to the next. Again, let me move my picture out of the way. Auxiliary verbs. These helping verbs do, does, and can. And the important point of this table and this part of the lesson is how they help you make a statement that's positive. I like you. How you make it negative. The negative of that, the opposite, negative. Okay. Let's see if I got anything on that. So these are used when you're turning a sentence into a negative, thing. Okay. We always use the not. And you're using the word not also. It's going to appear everywhere, but this is how you do it. So, I like you. So I and you takes do. When you're changing it, takes do. He, she, or it takes does. So I like you, I do not. So this is like 不喜欢, but it's I do not. You say do not instead of one word 不 or 没有, you know. Those are the ways that in Chinese you turn something to a negative. 我喜欢, 我不喜欢. Here is I like you, I do not like you. He likes you, 他喜欢你. Okay, he does not like you, 他不喜欢你. Okay, does not. But notice that the word is does and not do. It could be she likes you, then she does not like you. It, the dog, likes you. It does not like you. Okay. You like cake. You do not like cake. So you takes the do. They like cake. They do not like cake. He likes cake. He does not like cake. And here, when you use can, it's she can eat. She cannot eat. You can run. You cannot run. I do my homework. I do not do my homework. Okay, so that's just how these words work. And over here is another exercise. I'm going to ask you to again pause the video, 暂停视频一下, and choose the correct form of the verb for these sentences. You like apples. What's the negative, like we were doing over here? She runs every morning. What's the negative? He can do his job well. I can do the housework. So pause the video. I'll wait a few moments for you to do it. But pause the video so you actually take some time to think it through. Okay, let's look at those answers. You like apples? You do not like apples. She runs 跑步 every morning. 每天早上她去跑步. She does not run every morning. He can do his job well. He cannot do his job well. So you see, the only time something it's a different word is for this he, she, or it does not. Otherwise, it's the same. Everything's the same. I can do the housework. I cannot do the housework. So it's just the do and it's the does and the, this word does just shows up for he, she, and it. Okay, moving on. Let's do prepositions. Prepositions of place. Okay, so let's介系词地点 so 地点的介系词 at this word at it indicates okay 指的是 a specific特定较小的地点 it indicates a specific relatively small location relatively small a cafe I mean relatively small because it's not China it's not some big place big country or something okay so meeting at the cafe that's what this means meeting at the cafe you use this word the location 在哪儿 at the cafe 在 okay at because it's a place at the cafe but if it's on a surface, if it's usually, okay, so 通常无题的表面 or 或者街道 things like that, then you use on. See, because you're not on the cafe, you're not actually on the surface of the cafe. When you're on you're walking on the street, feet on the street. You're on the street. And the papers are on the table. So we meet at the cafe, the papers are on the table, and I'm on the street. I'm at the house, I'm on the street. In is a little bit larger. In is referring to being in a place larger than at. Okay, so, but I guess it means that, but it doesn't look like that. Okay, I'm at the cafe, but I'm in my room. In my room, at the cafe, in my room, at the cafe. So it's usually a larger location than at, but either this example doesn't show that. This cafe is usually larger than your room. But I don't know what to tell you. It might be something that you learn from practice. You're in the room, but you're at the cafe. I have to think about that. I don't know how I'd explain it. But here it's obvious. Bangkok is in Thailand. Bangkok is in Thailand. Yeah. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to go back. Yeah. 2, this indicates, so the 指示 is a destination or a location, a 目的地 or endpoint to a trip. So 旅行的重点 I'm going to Seattle. I'm going to China. I'm going to a movie. Going to a place like a destination or a final destination, or just some intention to go someplace. 目的地. Yeah. By it has 2 meanings, and when it's a preposition of place, 地点的介系词, it's 在旁边. I sit by you. Can I sit by you? Can I walk? Can I live in the house by you? or yeah, something like that. Or it talked about the method that you used to do something. So 用什么方式 to go somewhere. I came here by bus. So go ahead. Then we have the prepositions of time. So this is 时间的介系词 At indicates an exact or specific moment. Okay, so 只是一个准确特定的时刻 I was born at 7-Eleven in the morning. Right at that time. So this is very specific, 7-Eleven. On indicates a specific date or week. Okay, so it's 特定日期 or 星期. All right, specific date or week. My birthday is on July 11th. My birthday is on a holiday. Okay, so it's a little bit bigger, but specific on a specific holiday. But in used in as a preposition of time, it's going to be referring to a longer 一段长的 rather than非常 a specific time, rather than 非特定的时间. Okay, so it's a 一段长的 instead of and not 特定的时间. Right, my birthday is in July. So these longer periods of time it's referring to could be a month, 月份 or a season, 季节 or a 年 a year or a century, or a century. Is that a century? Is a 世纪. All right, so next thing I'm going to show you that's here in your textbook on pages 5 and 6 are vocabulary lists, and they're in 3 columns, 1, 2, 3 columns, and many more rows than I have here. This is a row. This is a column. The columns go down, the rows go across. Okay, and I picked out the most difficult words, I think, difficult for pronouncing, for saying. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say these words, and I'm going to say them twice, and you can try to say them with me the second time. And if you find the first word in the row, all 3 words are going to be in that row. So I picked out rows that had a difficult word in it. So hello is not a difficult word. I think everybody is familiar with that. But kitchen might be hard for people to say because it's got these funny letters in the middle here. So I picked this row because this word was difficult maybe to pronounce, to say, to speak. The masho would be difficult. 一点难, right? So you'll find these words in your textbook on that table. But again, I left out many rows where the words just seemed simple enough that you would know how to say them. You should read them all and practice understanding the words, memorizing the words, and saying the words. But I'll go over these here now with you. Hello. Hello. Kitchen. Try to say it with me. Kitchen. Brother. Brother. Classmate. Classmate. Living room. Living room. Cousin. See this S here? It has like a Z sound, like Zao. So cousin. Here's the meaning, many words. Student. Student. Bathroom. Bathroom. Daughter. Daughter. So you don't pronounce these 2 letters at all. Thank you. Thank you. Dining room. Dining room. Read. This can also be pronounced as past tense. Read, even though you spell it the same. Angry. Angry. Hate. Hate. Walk. Walk. Hungry. Hungry. Sleep. Sleep. Take. Take. Doctor. Doctor. Dentist. Dentist. Write. right. Police officer, police officer. Firefighter, firefighter. Drive, drive. Play, play. Restaurant, restaurant. Vegetables, vegetables. Music, music. Shrimp, shrimp. Prawn, prawn. Potato, potato. Travel, travel. Dinner, dinner. Chopsticks, chopsticks. Right. So finally, homework. 终于作业. We'd like you to take the vocabulary from this that's in your book, pages 5 and 6, and some of the grammar rules that you learned in this lesson or reviewed in this lesson, because maybe you should have covered that in beginning ESL. But take the vocabulary and the grammar rules learned and write 5 sentences. Okay? So, 写五个句子，用新单词也用立刻学习的语法. So here's an example. Here's an example of a be verb, and there's rules around the be verb, to be, and we have some vocabulary that we learned. And so when I say I, the be verb becomes am. I am a firefighter. Simple. So that's what we want you to do. You can use any of the. You can make sentences and try to make nouns, plural nouns, ending in S. And how do you get to the S? Do you have to add ES or just S? Or you could write sentences where you make, if there's a grammar rule, changing a verb because he cries, I cry, he cries, 他哭了. Okay, so, and that would be one of the grammar rules, and you might try to find the firefighter cries, something like that. So here's another example of using a pronoun, working with pronouns, simple present tense, and some new vocabulary. We eat shrimp, he eats shrimp. So make 5 sentences. If you have questions or problems, you can you can send them to us on WeChat. Also, 如果你有问题, then put them on WeChat, and we'll try to answer your 我们试试回答. Okay. So until next time, stay home, wash your hands, protect your health. 下次见, 留在家, 洗手 and 洗手 and 保健康. Thank you.